What's up, guys? Welcome back to Veteran Aquatics. My name is Dylan, and today we're going to talk about why your aquarium gets cloudy, the different types of cloudiness, and how to fix it. But before we go ahead and get started, make sure to go ahead and hit that thumbs up and smash the subscribe button. I'll see you in a second. Alright, guys, so you can see this tank behind me. It looks kind of green. That's because it is. And the first type we're going to talk about, the first type of cloudy water, is algae. So you'll notice that the water gets a really green tint to it, and that's because there's an algae bloom in your tank. One of a couple of things is causing that. It's either too much light on the tank, you're overfeeding the tank, which is the most common cause. A lot of people don't realize that they overfeed their fish, but what this does is it leaves excess food in the bottom of your tank, and it allows for things like algae to use it as food. So you get the exponential growth. The reason the water is green is because it's actually algae suspended in the water column of the tank. Now, the way you get rid of it, there are two good ways that I have. The first one is going to be to leave your lights off on your tank for 4 to 5 days. If you can, wrap the tank in a blanket. You want as little amount of light as possible to come in contact with the tank, thus killing off the algae. Once that's done, your filter should suck it up. A hang-on back filter with some quilt batting in it or some filter floss works really well. If you have a canister filter, that works great. These sponge filters don't suck it up as well. I would also recommend a 30 to 40% water change after your tank is cleared up, and a good gravel vac just to make sure you suck up as much of that dead algae as possible. The next way to clear up green water is going to be with a UV sterilizer. So my canister filter for the Jaguar cichlid tank has one built in, so I don't need to worry about algae suspended in the water column. But you can also buy them on Amazon, Chewy, stuff like that. I've seen them from 40 to 120 bucks depending on the make, model, and size. But that is the second way that you can go ahead and get rid of that. Personally, as this is a budget channel, I just cut the lights off. It's already cleared up a ton. The only reason it's on is so I could show you it for the video. But I'll just leave the lights off. Maybe I'll put a blanket up. And it's happened to me a couple times in that tank, and every time it's not a problem. I just leave the lights off for a couple days, and it goes. And the second type of cloudy water is this. So this is my 90-gallon angelfish tank. And I'll get as close as possible so maybe you can see. It's what looks like a bunch of micro bubbles, right? So that's all it is. This tank's not actually dirty. The water's not cloudy. What you see are just a bunch of micro bubbles, and it's actually a really easy fix. I just don't care enough to fix it. So I have a hang-on back up there in the corner, and what's happening is the water is coming down from such a height as to trap extra air. And what it's doing is it's making little bubbles in the water every time the filtered water comes in contact with the water surface, trapping those little tiny bubbles in the actual water column. It's easy to fix, and every time I turn the filter off it goes away, but all I'd have to do is shut that filter off. If you're having a problem with it in a smaller tank where maybe it's not such a big distance from where the filtered water is falling to the surface of the water, it could just be little bubbles trapped in either the sponge of your filter or the charcoal of your filter, things like that. You'll also notice when you fill a tank with cold water, there are a lot more of those little bubbles that attach to the sidewall of the tank and stuff like that. That is just because cold water does not absorb oxygen as well as warm water does. So you'll see a lot more of those little bubbles until the tank warms up, at which point the oxygen will get reabsorbed into the water, and those bubbles will go away. The third type of water cloudiness is probably something like this. This is actual suspended particulate in the water column. So this comes from maybe you just did a big water change, maybe you did a big gravel vac, maybe you pulled your sponge filter out to the point where it couldn't suck the particulate up anymore and it all came off the filter. That's what this is. This tank is actually empty. There's no fish in here. And I let it kind of build up just to show you guys, just for this video. So this is what happened. All I did was I took my sponge filter and pulled it above water. And you can see what happens is all the stuff that it's ever sucked up
is now coming off of it because it lost its suction power. So you'll get something like this. Just do a big water change, clean the filter, but you don't want to clean it too much, otherwise you end up with the fourth kind.
So I don't actually have a tank that has the fourth kind, but it's when your tank water is kind of white or, you know, cloudy looking, and you can't see any sort of suspended particulate. What that means is your tank is going through a bacterial bloom. Now, this could be one of a couple of things. Either your tank is newly cycling, and that is the bacteria building up in the tank after 2 to 3 weeks of it being established. It could be you did a really good gravel vacuum, did an 80% water change, changed out your filter pads, and in doing so you destroyed a lot of that beneficial bacteria, so the tank is kind of recycling itself, and that's what you're seeing. You're seeing another bacterial bloom. So it's nothing to worry about. It should go away on its own after a little while. If it's not, it's likely suspended particulate, or it could be the micro bubbles like I have in the 90-gallon here. But either way, it'll go away on its own, alright? So I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I hope it gave you an idea of the different types of cloudy water that you might have, the causes of it, how to fix it, because I know as a fish keeper, and when I was younger, when I was a new fish keeper, you know, I didn't really know how to fix those things. So now that we have YouTube and it's such a great research tool, it really allows us to go ahead and do the research we need and get the answers we need pretty quickly. There's a ton of knowledge out there. We all have pretty much the world's collective knowledge in our pockets at all times with our phones. So I hope it was helpful for you guys. If it was, go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. You know, I really appreciate you guys watching. The channel's growing slowly but steadily. And to everyone that's subbed, I really do appreciate you guys. You know, you're the reason that I do this. I'm doing this to disseminate information to folks that would like to learn more about fish keeping in a economically friendly sort of way. So that's it for now, guys. We'll put up some new videos of the fish room, the new fish room. We should be closing on that in a couple weeks. The virus kind of pushed everything back. But I do have a lot of updates for you guys, a lot of exciting stuff. So as always, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Peace out.